friends, and a warm welcome to Ina Knits. My name is Ina, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about my knitting and occasionally some crocheting and of course a lot of yarn. I live in Norway, and I also sometimes bring you with me and give you a little sneak peek into my everyday life. But today I will talk mainly about knitting, and I have some finished knits. I also have some exciting new things on my needles, and I feel very inspired at the moment. I suspect it's because of spring. So today we woke up to snow again, but during the past 2 weeks we have had a lot of warm, nice weather. I could wear shorts for the first time this year. I also got to knit a lot out in the sun on my terrace, and I even brought my knitting on a couple of hikes. And if you would be interested in seeing what that would be like, I have put together a little vlog. I think I will call it Spring Hygge Vlog or something like that. And it will be posted on this channel in a few days. So keep your eyes peeled for that, if that's your cup of tea. But now we are back to colder weather again. I have put away my shorts, and I'm back wearing my winter coats, hats, gloves, and a cowl, and my winter boots. So that's how spring is like in the part of the world where I live. We can expect snow even sometimes for a few days in May. But hopefully this is the last time we see snow on this side of the summer. If you're interested in social medias other than YouTube, I can be found on Instagram as ina.knits. I also have a Ravelry account, although I'm not very active there at the moment. But I will put my username up on the screen so you can find me if you are interested in that. So now a little show and tell about my finishes, my what's on my needles, and I will draw the winner for the giveaway, and then I will let you in on what's going on, what's the plans ahead, and a little bit about some upcoming exciting things happening in Ina's life, if you will. Yes, and I have been knitting mainly on my Mynte sweater since the last time we spoke. And this is all over lace pattern sweater from Rauma. And it's been on my needle since, I think it's October, November last year. And I quit knitting on it because I ran out of yarn. And I should mention this just ahead of showing you the garment, that I have for a rather long time been focusing on using yarn from my stash. I find that very purposeful. I have a lot of yarn, and there's so many lovely kinds of yarn in my stash, and I really should try and make use of it instead of buying new things whenever I want to cast another new thing. So for the Mynte sweater, I dived into my stash and I found some balls of Jameson Smith. It's the jumper weight 2-ply. And I also found out that I had some white yarn of silk mohair from Holst. It's called Telia. So I paired the two yarns together to create this garment, and I think it turned out really well, although there's two different kinds of yarns intended for this sweater according to the pattern. But I'm super happy with this sweater, so let me show you. This is how it turned out. I have even finished both arms. And last night I soaked it in a lovely bath with wool wash, and I laid it flat to dry. And it's almost dry now. It's just a little bit damp still, but I think that the lace came out so lovely with this yarn combination. It's very light and it's got a beautiful drape. So just super happy with how this turned out. Later today I will put the sweater on and record so that you can see what it looks like when it's on me. It's rather oversized, but for this sweater it is just perfect. And I don't think that the neck will be too tight and high up on my neck either, or the ribbing I mean. So I'm very excited to try it on. I tried it of course prior to the blocking, but or not the blocking, I didn't block it, I just pressed it gently into shape and then I just let it rest flat on the floor until it dried completely, or almost completely. Yeah, so it's so wonderful to have this sweater of my needles. Even though I have enjoyed very much knitting on it, it became a little bit big and bulky to work on during these past 2 weeks when I finished off just knitting the arms. So yeah, it's a lot of fabric even though it's not heavy. So but yeah, I knit the sweater on needle 4.5, or was it 5? No, I think the ribbing is 3.25 millimeters. That's for the ribbing. And then the rest of the garment is knit using needle 4.5 millimeter. So it's rather quick. I know that many of you would really like to try out this pattern yourself. Unfortunately, Rauma Yarn doesn't seem to translate their patterns into English. I have no idea why, and I'm planning to send them requests or just ask if that's something they would consider doing, because I know that they would have so many happy customers if they would just translate the patterns into English to reach a larger audience. The next thing that's of my needles this week is a pair of socks. And this is a pair that I have made out of some spare yarn from my stash. They're both hand-dyed yarn, and the hand dyers are both Norwegian and they don't dye anymore, unfortunately. So they're kind of two gems that I picked out of my hand-dyed fingering weight yarn stash. And yeah, in the spirit of wanting to knit out of stash and just don't enjoy watching the yarn in the stash, I want to make something useful out of it. These are men's size socks. And yeah, I have knitted both of them top down with a reinforced heel. I put up a sock tutorial here on my channel 2 or 3 weeks ago, and where I describe the whole process of me knitting a sock. And then I mentioned that I didn't know the name of my heel turn. And it turned out that this is called a Dutch heel turn. So that's useful to know. I just learned that technique from a friend of mine. So I had no idea like what this was called. She learned it from her mother, who learned it from her mother again. So yeah. But it's lovely to know that this technique got a name. So this is a Dutch heel. And I like to do a reinforced heel to make the sock a little bit more wearable. No, not wearable, sturdy. And I also like to continue the reinforcement on the heel flap. Because in my experience, a lot of wear and tear is underneath the heel itself, not on the back of the heel, but underneath. I know that can vary from person to person, how you wear your sock and how you wear, how you walk, and yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, I have seen that many of the socks that I knit for other people tend to get holes underneath the heel first. So that's why I like to reinforce that part of the sock, as well as the heel flap itself. So the story of this pair is that I found this speckled variegated, I don't know, Turkish turquoise, the green blue-ish yarn, and that is hand dyed by Garn Surr. I used both of these colors for a shawl previously, but I didn't weigh how much I got left. So I think I got approximately 50 grams of this yarn and 50 grams of this. And yeah, so I started on top, I knitted down to the heel, I put in a contrast heel, and then I knitted down to somewhere around here. And then I suspected that I was about halfway through that 50-gram ball of yarn. So I casted on the other sock and did the exact same thing here. And I basically, from that point where I stopped working on the first sock, I stopped on the second sock, and from there, because I knitted both from the inside and the outside of the yarn cake, I could then knit a few rounds on one sock and then a few rounds of the other sock, and then I kept going like that until I ran completely out of the lighter color. And yeah, then I just switched to the dark green and completed both of them. So that's the story about these socks. And they might be a present for someone who might be looking on my episode right now, so I won't say anything else about that. I also have another finished pair of socks to show you, and this is not a pair that's recently finished, but since I started podcasting again, I promised you to try and recap a little bit from my knitting during the past year or so. So this is a really lovely pair of socks made out of a Christmas colorway from a homespun house. I bought this specific yarn probably 3 or 4 years ago maybe, and it's the Christmas at Hogwarts colorway, which is of course a Harry Potter reference. So I kind of have saved that hank of yarn for special like Christmas sock knitting treat for myself. And last December I decided to pull out that yarn and make a pair of Christmas holiday themed socks for myself. And look at that color. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I can't even. I love this dyeing, or the way they're speckled so perfectly. It's amazing to me how they do this. Yeah. So I have got myself a new pair of socks. I will not wear them until next Christmas season, so probably late November this year. And yeah, I still have my cute little snowman progress keeper here. Yeah, it's so wonderful. And I have a little nugget left of this yarn because and it's not March. It's this. And the reason why I don't have more is I have both last Christmas and a couple of Christmases before that, I have just admired this yarn and this specific colorway so much. And I have used that yarn to knit some bluebirds of happiness. And I often, during Advent and the period before Christmas, I have a specific project bag where this yarn has been, and I also keep some other specific yarns in there and some specific needles and some stuffing. And every time during the pre-Christmas holidays, I pull out this specific project bag and I knit some ornaments. And if you haven't tried that before, I really recommend the Bluebird of Happiness pattern. I think it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and if I can find a picture I will insert it here so you can see what I'm talking about. It's really quick to knit up, and I have use this specific yarn for I think at least 3 or 4 or 5 small bluebirds, and I give them away. So for instance, if I'm going to a Christmas party and I bring a bottle of wine or something, I make sure to hang my little bluebird of happiness around the neck of the bottle or something like that. So yeah, I gifted many of those over the years. They're so cute, small gifts that's yeah, really appreciated, and they're very fun to make as well. So little pro tip, and when we get to the Christmas season, I will show you the specific holiday project bag where I keep all that stuff for ornaments, and yeah, bring you with me while I make some more of those. I have one pair of nearly finished socks, and I think you have seen this if you have been on my channel before. So this is the first sock of yeah, it's a hand-dyed yarn subscription from Kvitlamme, which is a Norwegian hand dyer. It's a very beautiful color, and this is the progress on sock number 2. It could have been finished, but I have kept this sock mainly in my handbag and brought it with me when I have been out and about. So I still have some rows to go. And here is the yarn. It's a fingering weight merino yarn, super soft. So it's a very enjoyable knit, and as I explained last time we spoke, I'm knitting a 3x1 broken rib, both on this sock, and I did the same technique on these. And I really enjoy to mark my projects with project progress keepers. Yeah, I think I need to find me some new ones, because they tend to get a little lost. And yeah, I know that I have a lot of beautiful ones. I really think this is so nice. Strawberry cheesecake. Yeah. So maybe that's something I need to make this weekend, as my birthday is coming up next week. We will see. And yeah, since I have a pair of socks off the needles, I have also casted on a new pair of socks, of course, as you do. It's kind of dangerous. I have a clear plastic box of hand-dyed sock yarn just next to my bed right now. The reason for it was that I earlier was browsing through it to find a specific hank of yarn, and then it just stayed there, and every now and then I now glimpse over at it and feel super tempted to pull out some yarn and cast on for a new pair of socks. So I did the other night. I was going to bed, but I really wanted to cast on for a new project, and so I pulled out some deep stash. This one. And this is a Knit Pick Stroll, I think it is. Yeah, Knit Pick Stroll fingering, skating rink hand painted. It's a superwash merino wool with nylon. And it's absolutely super duper soft. It's very, very soft. It's like cashmere soft, in my opinion. And I really love getting, especially Knit Picks yarn. I know that that's kind of a very common commercial yarn in America, but it's not possible to buy this yarn in Europe. So some years ago, me and one of my knitting friends, we bought a bunch of Knit Picks yarn, but then we needed to create like a kind of a drop shipping address in the States, so that we could actually order the yarn, because you can't order the yarn if you are located outside of, I think it's US and Canada. So we went to length to get hold of some Knit Picks yarn. And this was one of the kinds that I bought, so it's kind of a deep stash. And then of course we needed to get someone to pick up the yarn at the address that we kind of created in the storage area or something like that, and they will pay them to ship it all the way to Norway. So that was huge, a big moment when we finally could try Knit Picks Felici and Stroll. Since then, I have been gifted some balls of Knit Picks Felici, so I have some more in my stash actually. That's still laying and waiting to become something beautiful. Yeah, but anyway, these socks. The Knit Picks Stroll yarn is kind of very busy, and firstly, I intended to just use that one colorway to knit up a pair of socks, but then I decided to knit in some stripes with a plain color, just to break it up a little bit, to make it a little bit more interesting to knit. And I kind of like that. So the light gray in between is just plain Sandnes yarn, Sisu. It's a fingering weight sock yarn, which is not merino wool, but it's a sturdy sock yarn, Norwegian sock yarn. Yeah, so that's how far I have gotten on the first sock. So as I mentioned, I have been feeling super inspired by a lot of knitters lately. I've been browsing on Instagram and on Ravelry and in search for perfect spring sweater to cast on after I finished the Minte sweater. So one sweater really caught my eye by a Knit Pearl Girl, I think her name is, or her username at least. And this is called the Farnham sweater. I will put it on the screen. And it's got a really beautiful construction, which spoke to me totally. You start off with a lot of short rows, and you get this super drapey fabric, almost like, oh, I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing. It's got almost the same construction as this one, or at least something similar. This is my V-neck boxy. I knitted it 5-6 years ago. It's a pattern from Joji Locatelli. I really love it. It's maybe a tiny bit oversized and big for me, but it gives me a nice silhouette, I think. Over to the Farnham sweater. It's really not very easy to show you right now, but if you can use your imagination, this is the neck, where the neckband is coming, and it is knitted obviously top down, since I'm showing you like this. And yeah, so you start off knitting the back piece from the neck and down to under the arms, and then you pick up stitches both sides and continue knitting the front panels. So I have just completed the left front panel, and I'm about to pick up stitches and repeat the same on this side, and then at some point you will join the two and knit flat down to the point where you meet the length of the back piece. And then you at some point knit the arms, or you add the arms some way. I haven't come to that point in the description yet. And you also knit up the whole all the stitches around the neck, and you knit a very lovely rolled neck band, or yeah. So I just adore this knit. I think I made this progress in 1 day, 1.5 days, or something like that. It just zooms by. And I'm so eager to get all the stitches on one needle and just zoom through the rest of the body and see what this thing will look like in the end. I have big hopes that this will be a new favorite of mine. So I really recommend checking out this Instagram user, Knit Pearl Girl. She's got some lovely pictures up on several versions of this sweater. And I have again decided to use some stash yarn, and this time it's my first time knitting with Cascade yarns, I think. At least it's Cascade 220 Heathers, and it's this beautiful purple. It's the purple 9641. And this is another yarn that's not readily available here in Norway. I bought a sweater's quantity of this one in New York 5 years ago. So yeah, using stash. And I have been figuring out which project I could use this lovely ball of yarn for, because this is something that's quite unique. It's dyed by using avocado pits. The only thing I know that this is BFL, worsted weight, and it's dyed using 8 avocado pits. It's a really beautiful muted beige, light brown color. And I think I won it. It was a prize from another podcaster, but it's so long ago that I can't recall. But she dyed it herself. So hopefully this will be enough for striping this entire sweater. I think these colors is just matching so well. So I suspect that next time we speak, I will have made quite a lot of progress on this Farnham sweater. So now over to the giveaway winner. I celebrated my 40th knitting podcast episode 2 weeks ago, and I announced that I wanted to host a giveaway to give a little bit back to one of you, of my wonderful, lovely, kind, loving viewers who has chosen to stay on this podcast, even though I have been on a huge podcasting break. So I have also seen that I got a lot of new viewers since I started up again, and that's super wonderful too. So thank you so much, all of you. You all deserve a prize, of course, but I chose some yarns from my stash that I really wanted to go to one of you, to a new home. Maybe you can find something enjoyable and nice to knit with this yarn. The prize consists of 3 hanks of fingering weight yarn. They're all from Norwegian hand dyers, except for this one, which is a merino single from a homespun house. And I also included some lovely spring-like minis. And I have been picking a winner randomly using the some kind of a comment picker from internet, and the winner is Naomi van Harn. I'm not sure, Naomi, if you are from the Netherlands or if you're from some other country, but she so kindly commented, "So happy to see you are posting episodes again. I really liked your sock tutorial. I enjoyed episodes like this one, your hygge vlogs and vlogmas. Do what works for you and brings you joy." Wonderful. Thank you so much, Naomi. And if you would please send me either a DM on Instagram, ina.knits, or shoot me an email on my email address, which I will put here on the screen, and it will even be on the description box below this episode. And let me know your contact information, then I will happily ship the lovely yarn off to you as soon as I get your information. And yeah, I'm just amazed about all the wonderful comments and the feedback on my YouTube channel. I prompted, what would you like to see more of on this channel? And I think that the majority of you really wanted me to just, as Naomi, post whatever feels best for me, and that you mainly liked the podcast formats, but you also enjoyed some vlogs every now and then. And one of you suggested that I could try out posting some hygge vlogs throughout the year, maybe quarterly. And yeah, if you're not familiar with the hygge vlogs, that's a concept that I started a few years back to kind of make the month of November a little bit more nicer, lighter, brighter, cozier, because in my part of the world, November is a super dark and dull month, and we just, I don't know, wait on December to start, when we can bring up the Christmas lights and kind of be excited about the Christmas time ahead of us. So I posted a weekly vlog for 4 or 5 of them throughout the November month, and I called them 1 month of hygge. So they're on my channel here under the hygge vlogs. I think it's a bundle called hygge vlogs. So if you're interested, just check it out. But I thought that it was a wonderful idea to bring some hygge into the rest of the year. So I have been recording some snippets from my everyday life, some knitting, of course, and some kitchen activities. Yeah, out and about hiking with my dog Billy. He is lying next to me now, but he is too shy to make an appearance today, I think. But he will definitely be making an appearance. I will put up spring hygge vlog for you to enjoy in a few days. If you're interested in more of my everyday life outside knitting, I also have an Instagram account together with my partner or my boyfriend. We are about to move in together in 1.5 months. We have started an Instagram account where we kind of focus a little bit more about our common dream to sail. I am not a sailor. I have been on a sailboat, I think maybe 3 times throughout my entire life. So I'm not experienced at sea, whatever. But we are very intrigued about sailing, and my father-in-law just bought not a brand new, but it's brand new for him, sailboat. It's a 50-feet sailboat, and we are about to embark that boat in a little over 1 week. It is located now outside Stavanger, which is southwest in Norway. So we will drive to Oslo, we will go on a plane to Stavanger, and then we will join the sailing crew and sail the sailboat all the way back to Halden, where he lives. Which is a long trip. It will take us something between 3-4 days and a week. So we are super excited about that. We will actually be living on this sailboat for some days. And during the summer, we will also be joining him on his sailboat. And if this is something that we both enjoys, and I can tackle the waves and the movements of the sea, hopefully one day we can have a sailboat of our own. And of course, there will be a lot of knitting on the sailboat. I will bring my knitting, and it will be an adventure. Yeah, it will. So, in short, if you are interested, we have been posting like a daily countdown, just some reels showing what we do every day, or some snippets from our everyday life, just to document our, preparation, or the days ahead of us, starting on the sailing adventure. And a lot more will come on this channel as well, as we start sailing in a little over a week. It's very exciting, very exciting. And of course I will show you a lot more of that sailing trip when I will be back with my next episode. It will not be in 2 weeks' time, but because in 2 weeks' time from now I will be on board that sailboat. But after that, the week after, I will definitely be back with another podcast episode, a regular podcast episode. So in the meantime, enjoy my spring hygge vlog if that's something you're interested in. Don't hesitate to visit my sailing account, which is Storefri Sailing. I will put it here on the screen, and please check it out if that's something you're into. Even if it's just to to see some more behind the scenes of Ina Knit's everyday life. And I hope that you're having a great springtime or fall time if you're living on the southern hemisphere. And yeah, I'm so happy that you took time out of your day to be here with me. I would, and if you like what you see on this channel, please don't hesitate to become a subscriber if you're not already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I love to hear from you through your comments. So I'm super happy to either answer some questions or just read your lovely feedback, or yeah, whatever your feedback might be. Okay, enough rambling. So have a lovely rest of April, start of May, and I will see you in a few weeks. Bye!